Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. It is the 4th of January, just a couple minutes after 4, and I am trying something new for 2022, which are pop up lives. So the content will still follow my normal brand of body language and presentation mode and how to communicate better, but it was going to be more aligned to my intention for the year, which is defying expectations. So, catch me when you can. When I have guests on, I will definitely let you know when those will be because we will do some build up to that. But I just wanted to let myself off the hook and maybe defy that expectation of seeing me on Tuesday morning at 8 a.m., which was hard on my guests, which sometimes was hard on me to show up and be ready at that time. So we're trying something new. You can certainly let me know if there's a better time for me to be doing these pop-ups, since probably most of you are going to now be catching me after the fact, particularly this first one, because I wasn't on this morning and I didn't warn anybody. So I hope you all had a fantastic new year. If you don't know me and haven't run into me before, I am Allison Henderson and my company is Moving Image Consulting. These are called Listening with Your Eyes LinkedIn Live because one of the things that I really champion is the ability for us to use all more of our senses, meaning be present in the moment with our communication and observe what is happening with other people. One of the things that we also need to do when we're listening with our eyes is we need to be observing ourselves. And the beginning of this 2022 season, I think, is everybody in that reflection mode, is taking a little bit more time to observe themselves, where they were in 2021, what their uh, resolutions, goals, if you will. I don't like to use those words for 2022, which is why I use intention. Today, we're going to be thinking about these 3 quick tips for intentions that stick. Why I don't like the word goals, and I will credit Kristen Lamar for this, my coach, and I know I talk about her all the time, but she's fantastic. You need to find her. But the difference between goal, which is finite, and I think I've talked about this before, it has a win or lose to it. And when we're talking about personal growth and leadership development and better communication skills, I really don't feel like it is a good word to use because you feel like you're a loser if not enough people signed up for your event or what your goal was for how many people signed up for your event. You feel like you've lost if you didn't sell as much for the stage as you wanted to. You feel like you lost if you don't have as many followers on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube channel or whatever it is for this grand goal that you've set, right? And so if we set the intention, it's just a little bit softer. It can connect more to our core. It connects a little bit more to our emotional center, I believe, as well. I think it's easier to meditate around and do mantras and things. Therefore, I will be using the word intention when I talk to you about said goals. So I hope that you have set an intention of some sort for 2022. I know I originally wasn't going to go down this road because I feel like, and maybe you feel like it too, another person is trying to teach me how to make my goals stick and they don't stick. And there are so many reasons why they really don't. But one of the major reasons that they don't stick is because our brains don't want them to be honest. I've been geeking out, as you know, on neurology, but I've also been in neuroscience and all of that sort of thing. I've also been geeking out on the quantum physics world and the space and the electricity around you and the energy that you create and all of that kind of thing, and how the body mind works and how the body is connected. And really, your body and your brain are kind of working against you in a lot of ways. And I've mentioned before that the minute you are in the middle of an experience, your protective fight or flight mode, which you don't know is happening because you're not conscious of it, it takes place in part of the subconscious parts of the brain, that it is seeking a correlative moment, something in your past that is similar enough to this moment to know whether you're safe or not. And it's looking through all of the file drawers in your brain for somebody who moves like this person, it talks like this person, or a situation that is similar to this. And it's looking for that comfortable place. Even if it's a flight place, it feels better because it knows what to do then. And when you try to reprogram that brain, and that's what a lot of setting expectations is about, or setting intentions, or setting these, what is you're going to do this quarter and that quarter and the other, and your business plans and all of these things, is that your body and your mind and your brain, they like those comfort places. So they kind of like you to be stressed out if that's what they're used to feeling. If those chemicals that go to the brain that kind of keep it hopped up on stress mode, they really kind of want to go kicking and screaming when you decide that you're going to be less stressed this year because you're going to meditate more, or you're going to be less stressed this year because you're going to hit the gym. The brain's like, oh, that's not what we're used to. I don't know if I want that. I would rather be stressed. And so they're going to look for similarities to the situation that you're in that can put you in that stress mode. So they will find something about the person that you're talking to that you don't like, or something that reminds them. So that in the car ride on the way home from the meeting, even though you thought the meeting went great while you were there, on the way home from the meeting, they're thinking, oh, but remember they kind of behaved like client X from 3 years ago that was just a disaster. And they never paid their bills on time, and you had to fire them as a client, and you still never got that last payment, but it was easier to let it go at the time than it was to go through a lawyer or a claim service, right? So your brain is going through all of those things because that's keeping you in this stress mode, and suddenly you feel stressed about this potential client and whether or not you should say yes to them or not. And there's a lot more about this that we'll probably get into in the future. But that's just one example of how your body and your brain kind of are used to the chemicals that they're normally getting, signals from you. And when you alter from that, they go a little bit haywire. And the reason I think the mode that I'm going to be talking about today, the 3 tips for helping these intentions stick, are helping you to cut that connection, that body brain connection to the chemicals and to either the stressors or the other things. Because our body in general will always go negative first. The way your kind of electrical and body centers and your chakras and all that are set up is you ground in the lower ones, which are lower energy frequencies. And so we kind of get stuck there in those lower energy frequencies. And I've been learning also a lot about this because of some of the health struggles that I went through last year, on how to change that energy for myself and to get myself out of those places. And so the higher energy that we really want to be in, we have to work at it. We have to work at those higher energy levels to really be in them every day. And so this is one way to do it. And if you happen to be watching and you're like, no, this is making sense, stick with me for a minute, or definitely shoot me some comments, and I'll check the comments in a second here. So when we're keeping our intentions alive, step 1 is think of something which defines your word for you, or your phrase, or those sorts of things. There's many people that choose words for their intention, for the year or for the quarter, whatever it is. I think you can choose a phrase. Mine is, as I think I meant, defying expectations. So I'm coming to you at a different time today. But so when you think of something which defines your words. A moment in time, maybe when you embodied that, is a great moment. If let's say your intention is to speak more powerfully this year, and say what you mean more clearly in meetings or something, think back to the meeting in which you accomplished that. There must be some time in your life when you felt powerful and you felt like you spoke your mind, and and nothing fell apart. Think back to that moment. Or if it's something from a movie, or if it's something that you see that works for you, you think about that. So for instance, my defying expectations, the thing that kept coming to my mind was the wonderful moment in the musical Wicked, because of course I was a musical theater performer. And so, I go to see the Broadway shows and I love doing that. Well, it's been long enough that hopefully most of you have seen it. But when Elphaba at the end, I believe it's the big finale of Act One, and she sings Defying Gravity, right? And there's that moment where the wind starts to pick up and she levitates off the ground, and her coat or jag or whatever, it just becomes really, really huge. And there's all this smoke and lights and whatever. And she's levitating and she's singing about how she's defying gravity. And, you know, uh, something will never let her down, or she's never going to let her down, or somebody's not going to let her down. And then money note, all that stuff, blackout, end of Act One. You're like, ah, right? Well, I had that vision for my defying expectations, like that wonderful moment in the show when it's just this coming together of everything for this particular character. And it's the moment that she feels, I believe, if I was looking at the arc of the character, that's the moment where everything gels for her and she's, she knows her mind and that kind of thing. So I've been thinking about changing the words and creating my own little song and all that kind of thing. But unfortunately, defying gravity and defying expectations, I have one too many syllables. It's going to be difficult. So we'll see. But if I break into song someday, you'll know why. But that's the moment for me. And I have other personal moments, but I kind of like that vision because I could kind of place myself in there. Like if I would ever go back in time and be young enough to play Elphaba. Now, that might be a moment that I would want to try to capture. So the second thing you're going to do is use that inspiration to move your intention, to set the body mind. Okay. Let me say that again. Use that inspiration to move your intention. And that movement is going to set it in the body mind. What do I really mean by that? Or how does that work again? And I've talked about this before, and I've shown you movement scales and sequences and things. But so for me, I would take that moment, that image that I have of Elphaba holding up her broom, I think it is at that point, and all of I'm going to be Googling this very soon. Like, okay, that song, and rewatching rewatching that particular scene on YouTube or something, because I'm sure it's out there. But there, that moment where she's in that place, I could use that same move to in the morning be like, I'm going to defy expectations today. And I put it in my body as I say the words, because I don't believe we should only speak our mantras or only speak these intentions in really that we should only speak when we're meditating. I think the movement piece, and there's people that support me in that too out in the world, but the movement along with it helps amp its effectiveness, because your body then feels it too. And when it's just in our mind, it's very easy for the sabotage, the gremlins, the naysaying part of our brain to go, oh yeah, but remember, you've tried that before and that's never worked, kind of thing. But if that naysayer part of my brain starts to come out and I'm holding this broom in my mind, I can whack it, or I can fly away, or I can make the blackout happen so that those little gremlins go away. So if you can move it, doesn't mean you have to move all around the room, but if you go on a morning walk, if you're a runner or something, maybe you can use that movement to replay your intention word through your mind, because then you're moving it. And it really does help to break that. Remember that chemical connection that your brain wants to be on that chemical high of the way you used to be. And then your body does the habitual things that it does, because we like to do our subconscious things that we don't have to think about. Our brains love routine that they don't have to think about. How many times do you get in the car and you've gotten to your destination and you don't really remember half of driving? Because you're on autopilot, and your brain loves that, because your brain likes to go wandering in all these other places. But if you're trying to focus your brain on your intention, if you get your body into it, it's going to connect it even more, and it's going to make it more powerful. And when you have that body-brain connection, you can replay it in your mind more, which is that step 3, which is repeat 1 and 2 as needed, especially right when you wake up or right before you fall asleep. So this is where, if you're lying in bed, you probably don't want to be moving around on your partner, moving that intention. But if you have it in your brain, you can move it in your mind. You can create the movie in my mind from Miss Saigon. If you know that musical reference, there's a song, The Movie in My Mind. You can create that movie. You can, of the 5 seconds it takes to do your little mantra, or the 2 seconds it takes to say it, but you can watch yourself doing it. And the great thing about it is, particularly right before you go to sleep, when you get to those brain waves, I think they're the theta brain waves, I might be wrong. When you get to the slow your mind down brain waves, that's where your mind, this is so cool, doesn't know the difference between reality and what you're seeing, feeling, emoting in that moment. And that's really where you can create your future. And so if at that moment you can go into that intention and see it moving in your mind, it will, to your brain, be like you're actually moving your body while you do it. And the same thing right when you first wake up. Say, oh, thank you for another day. This is going to be great. I'm going to, whatever your mantra is. So today, I get up and I ask myself, how am I going to defy expectation today? And tomorrow I will get up and I will say, how am I going to defy expectation today? So yesterday, I defied expectation because I had some scans done and they were clear and it was great. And so yay, happy raw. In 2022, things are going in the right direction health-wise. So that was defying an expectation. I don't know whether the doctors thought that's what, they were going to show, but I knew I had done a lot of work to make sure that that's what happened. But so that was defying expectation yesterday, which was, on the personal side, didn't have anything to do necessarily with my business, even though everything was always entwined, let's face it. But today, I woke up, how are we going to define expectation today? I know. I'm going to do a pop-up LinkedIn Live. I'm not even going to show up at 8 o'clock in the morning. We're going to see what that does. And tomorrow I can think through, how am I going to defy expectation today? And if I think, I don't know if I have an answer right yet, I can go into meditation and ask for what that should be today. Or as I go throughout my day and the to-do list, I could look at the to-do list and say, oh, how can I defy expectations with that call? How could I defy expectation with that reach out? Or how could I defy the expectation of the client today, right? How could I do things differently that's going to recharge our relationship, or it's going to recharge even them? What's a new assignment that I could give them? I give assignments, meaning like observing people on their team, things like that. What can we do to do things different? So that's my goal for everybody. And of course, we've already gone 5 minutes over what my plan was, is for you to set intentions that stick in a different way because you're embodying it with movement, and you can use that embodiment in the feeling anytime you need it because it'll be quick. Walking into a meeting, defy expectations, see that picture in the mind. The body doesn't know the difference, but it feels more powerful the minute you're done. Get in the car. How can I defy expectations with my kids when I get home so that I don't do the same routine with them that I'm in a rut about, right? Did you get your homework done? Why has nobody washed the dishes in the sink? I left clear instructions for how to start dinner and nothing has happened, right? Or how can I defy the expectation that my other family members have? Because that may also be a way for you, with whatever your intention is, for you to change relationships, both personally and professionally, and to change some of the relationship to yourself. And I think that's what 2022 may be about because of all the pain and suffering and everything of 2021. 2022 needs to be about moving in new directions. And the way that we do that is we have to break that chemical reaction. You're going to hear me talking a lot more about this, that body-brain connection in the brain wanting to stay in place, and how we get the brain to move to a different place. That's really how you're going to transform your communication. That's really how you transform. And if any of this feels like, wow, that's the kind of thing that I want to do in 2022, message me and we'll get on a call and we'll talk about it. Because there are a lot of different ways, and I don't want all of these to always become pitches. I just want you to know that I'm available to you. And you'll get a link to my calendar and it says free consult, like free talk with Allison or something, right? And it will be a way for us to see where things may be stuck for you and whether I might be the right person. And if I'm not, I have a whole great slew of people that I highly recommend for different areas of your life that may work better than myself. So I never go into the, yes, I am the only one for you. If I don't really feel that I am, then you'll get a great recommendation. Okay, everybody, have a fantastic beginning of the new year, and we'll see when I pop up next week, and I'll start leaking ideas for who's going to be guests. If you have ideas for guests, send them my way. If they're, if you run into somebody who's like, wow, this person speaks your language, or this person thinks of it in a slightly different way, but I think you two would have a great conversation and I'd love to see it live, shoot those my way as well. So Allison at movingimageconsulting.com. Can always go to Moving Image Consulting, the website, and there's the contact page. You can DM me on LinkedIn and follow, and then DM, or find me on the YouTube channel. I'm going to try to do more TikToks, but they're not going to have lives because TikTok doesn't connect to that, but Facebook does. So you can also find the Moving Image on Facebook and message me there. Lots of ways to get in contact with me. Let's have a great 2022, everybody.